You asked for bourbon, and I'm going to give you bourbon. In fact, we're going straight to the source. We're going to Kentucky. This is Buffalo Trace. Let's do this. Hi, welcome back to Whisky Riffs. My name's Kevin, and today we're going to do some bourbon. Not just any bourbon. We're doing some Kentucky straight bourbon from Buffalo Trace Distillery. Now, Buffalo Trace is a huge distillery. You may have heard of a lot of their products. The two we have here are Buffalo Trace Kentucky. That's a hard word for me, apparently. I haven't started drinking yet. Honestly, I haven't started drinking. Kentucky straight bourbon. And Eagle Rare, which is another Kentucky straight bourbon. Buffalo Trace whiskey is 45% alcohol by volume. It is considered a Kentucky straight bourbon, which means that it qualified for all the requirements of Kentucky, I believe. That includes charcoal filtering and no coloring and all the other bourbon requirements. Now, to be called bourbon, I always thought, well, it's got to be from Kentucky, and that's not the case. In the United States, bourbon just has to be 51% corn as a grain. It can have other grains in there, but the majority of it, 51%, has to be corn, and it has to be aged in a new oak charred barrel, and it has to be at least 2 years old. If there's an age statement on the whiskey, it needs to show the youngest barrel, the youngest cask in that bourbon. Kentucky is not a requirement. It just so happens that a lot of bourbon is made in Kentucky. Now, Buffalo Trace is a huge distillery. You may have heard of some of their other whiskeys. Pappy Van Winkle, George Stagg Jr., Blanton's, Elmer T. Lee Single Barrel, W.L. Weller. Tons of whiskeys out there that are all made in the same distillery. And that, unfortunately, happens more often than not. We're starting to get into an age where more distilleries are popping up, but the conglomeration of, or the joining of distilleries happened back when whiskey lost its popularity. Now that it's popular again, you're seeing more distilleries, but there's still the big distilleries out there like Buffalo Trace. Bourbon's my go-to drink when I'm not looking to explore 1,001 flavors or be beaten up a little bit by an Islay whiskey. This is friendly, it's approachable. On the nose, you get that caramel, you get the vanilla. On the first sip, there's definitely the caramel and the vanilla, but I'm also getting a bit of a minty flavor to it and molasses. It's got a lot of flavor, it's got a lot of depth. The Eagle Rare is very similar. Now, the Eagle Rare to me is a little more complex. It's not hitting me right up front with a lot of vanilla and a lot of caramel. It's got some I can get some toffee, a little bit of coffee for me on the nose. Buffalo Trace definitely has a sweeter nose to it. Let's see if I can find anything else in here. Orange. It's the citrus. It's like an orange peel citrus, not like you're biting into an orange. Yeah, on the taste, there's definitely the caramel and the vanilla. There's a little more mint right there. I'm getting oak spice. Definitely seems a little spicier than the Buffalo Trace. Yeah, the Buffalo Trace is a softer whiskey. It's going to give you more sweetness, more of the caramel, more of the vanilla, where the Eagle Rare has more depth and complexity. Keep going back to the orange peel, to the mint on the nose. There's definitely more spices. There's definitely more flavors to explore. It also has a long finish like Buffalo Trace. You're not disappointed. It doesn't leave you quickly. You get to really enjoy this. They're both great sipping bourbons. I think I went through my first bottle of Eagle Rare pretty quickly, probably too quickly. I remember looking at my purchase list and saying, wow, I'm out of Eagle Rare. I need to buy another. When did I buy the last one? I think it was like 2 months. I guess I really was exploring the different flavors of Eagle Rare. I would recommend either of these. They're both very affordable. Typically, the Buffalo Trace is available in a wide variety of places. The Eagle Rare may be a little more difficult to find. The going rate for me is $23 for a bottle of Buffalo Trace. That's pretty damn good. Now, Eagle Rare, this is actually a 10-year bourbon. I forgot that this had an age statement on it, 10 years. Yeah, okay. I'm learning stuff on video with you. Price is going to be a little bit higher. I can get this for about $26. Not bad for a 10-year-old whiskey. And if you like Buffalo Trace, I would recommend giving Eagle Rare a try. It just ups everything that you get with Buffalo Trace. I remember spending time with people at a bar one time, and they were just so excited because they had found and had paid for some glasses of Pappy Van Winkle. It's a very expensive bourbon, not because it's so much better than any of them, but it's so rare. It's the same distillery, it's the same warehouse. The difference is there's like sweet spots in a warehouse for storing your casks, and wherever they're stored, they're affected by the weather differently. So they found that certain casks were a little more unique, were a little different in flavor, and they chose those to be the Van Winkle, Pappy Van Winkle especially. And it's ridiculously priced. If I'm really thinking that, I want something a little closer to a Pappy, there are other Buffalo Trace whiskeys that are really close in flavor, extremely close. The W.L. Weller, the Antique 107 especially, is a wonderful bourbon. It's listed for something like $25 to $35 for a bottle. The problem is, I can't find it. I can't find it anywhere. And the reason I can't find it is because people figured out that Pappy Van Winkle and W.L. Weller are very similar whiskeys. Why should I spend 200 or 300 bucks for Pappy? Now it's hard to get the Weller. I do have it on my list though. The Antique 107, I'm going to get a bottle of that because I do want to do a taste comparison. So the next Whisky Riffs Wednesday is going to be Irish because I got a few bottles of it back there. In addition to your comments and feedback, you can always hit me up on Twitter. I'm happy to have a conversation about whiskey with you. Thank you so much for watching these videos. I really appreciate it. I'm having fun doing them and I hope they're enjoyable to watch. If you would, give me a like, click the subscribe button. Subscribers help a ton. They really improve the way I can do things with this channel. And bang that bell so you get a notice every time a new episode appears. Cheers. Equal time, you can't let one go without the other. Bourbon is so friendly. Just a nice whiskey.